Good evening. I'm Tom Tanuki, and I'm recording this show on unceded Indigenous land. Well, I should say one of many unceded Indigenous lands which are on a continent which was thieved by a colonialist, expansionist regime. And we know that that regime brought with it all kinds of misery and destruction, some of which were disguised as help, as in, we know what's best for you. We know that and we mustn't forget that. But at the same time, we have to remember that the pandemic we're in now is now about protecting real lives. And some of those lives are Indigenous lives. Now, because this always was and always will be their land, we should probably not fucking kill them. Or for that matter, our own grandmas. On that cheery note, thanks for coming to my digital show. And this is a story set back in the early pandemic. And the reason I decided to do that is because I thought you haven't heard enough about the pandemic. Let's go for a walk to the only thing that you're allowed to walk to during the pandemic. So it's April 2020. It's the beginning of the novel coronavirus pandemic. And what am I doing? I guess I'm heralding the beginning of the pandemic with a nice, anxious walk around the park. I'm coming up towards an intersection, right? And I can see a woman coming up towards me, opposite direction. Now, she's about 20 metres off. We're both about 10 metres away from the intersection. It's a T intersection, okay? Bear with me. So she turns into the T intersection and she disappears as I'm, a few metres off the intersection myself. Fair enough, none of my business. And then as I reach the intersection myself, I'm just about to cross the intersection to go over the other side of the street, and I look around the corner and she is there. And in fact, she's staring at me. Now, this lady has a scarf mask on. Because remember, this is the early pandemic, and it's at that stage when you're looking online for masks and you can't find one because they've all been sold out and you've got to wait 2 months for one. You remember this time. In fact, at this time, half of Australia seems to think that masks have just been invented. So she doesn't have a mask. She has a rudimentary scarf mask on her face. And she is fucking glaring at me. Like, I'm talking like, what does Terry Pratchett say? A 10,000 kilowatt mega glare right into my face. And I know instantly in my gut that she's glaring at me for two reasons. And one is because I'm there, I'm in her way. And the other one, B, is that I definitely, in her eyes, have the novel coronavirus. But I love it in a way, can't help it. Because when I see that pent-up rage in her eyes, staring at me, furious at me for being in her way and having the coronavirus, I instantly recognise the same pent-up rage which was always brought to bear in mundane town square style situations like public transport or walking through the street and the like of my mother. Now, when I was young, my mum would come home from work, working in the city, so interconnecting train, tram, bus trips, very hectic. So you get home, 5:30, 6 p.m, big day, and then you go, "G'day, Mum, how are you?" And she'd go, "Well, I'd be a lot better if this fucking bastard wasn't coughing into my face the entire way home, this fucking bastard. He had the flu, absolutely, coughing and spluttering and looking right at me, looking right into my face. I can't even afford to take any time off work because of the last fucking bastard who gave me the flu. And now this fucking bastard spends the entire way home coughing, spluttering, wasn't even covering his mouth, looking right into me, this fucking bastard." My mother would use that sort of thing as a flashpoint, I think, for her life's frustrations. Like the long, deep frustrations that we all get in life. Trains, buses, assholes on the train. So when I look into this woman's eyes, I see that same rage. And despite myself, I love it. And I can almost imagine her going home to her son and saying to her son at the end of the day, you know, there's this fucking bastard walking along the street. He absolutely had the fucking virus walking right in my way. This fucking bastard. I love it, despite myself. And so when I look at her, I love it so much, despite myself, that and can I say, I'm not trying to be provocative here. I understand and I recognise it for my own mum and the like, and for many, many people. This is a very common thing. But I recognise it and I love it so much that I unintentionally start giggling at her. And I'm just laughing despite myself. It was just a knee-jerk response, not to provoke her, but I admit that my giggling at her did not exactly help the kilowattage in her stare. So I walk past her as quickly as I can, with her, you know, burning the side of my face off with her stare. Now, we will come back to her later. You might ask yourself, well, why are you in Cruikshank Park and why are you walking through Cruikshank Park in April 2020, Tom? And I would say, in response to you, well, do you even really need to ask? Because there's only one thing that anybody does in April 2020 when they exit the house. That's right, it's the one true freedom of all Australians, the one remaining right to mobility for all Australians in April 2020. Have you guessed what it is? That's right, I'm going to Coles. I'm going to my Coles. My Coles for me. You know, because remember, in Australia, it's either Coles or Woolworths, isn't it? You either have one branch or the other. And in my case, I am headed to my Coles. Welcome to the supermarket space. Just go with me on this. Now, I strongly identify with shopping at my Coles. I know you think I'm being facetious, but you're wrong. I'm not. Like you, like all Australians, we're honest with ourselves. We all make up an association with our preferred supermarket giant behemoth conglomerate. There's not many differentiating characteristics to really identify with one or the other. Coles or Woolworths or Coles. Which one? Well, one of them, for example, has an idea associated with it that says that it is the freshness one. But that's really just the result of a $1 billion marketing campaign. And the other one has the idea associated with it, the ambient idea that its prices are going down. This sort of ambient association with price constantly going down all the time. The only way to really separate one team from the other, and that is the colour. Okay, so if you're a Woolworths person, you're a green person, and if you're a Coles person, you're a red person. Now, I am a very strong red person. I'm definitely not the green one, I'm the red one. What do we associate red with? Well, we typically associate it with anger, yes, I admit, but also I think of control. And that's what I am. You know, I'm tightly, not wound up, but in control. It's self-restrained. And green is, well, it's just Woolworths, isn't it, really? You know, it's in their ad campaigns. I don't know, it's just green is Woolies, freshness or something like that, green, bits of cabbage. Now, I realise this doesn't look very much like the supermarket. I think the home environment is more convincing a home environment than this is that. So I thought, I've got a couple of little things that help you to vibe with the show and to really make you think that this is a supermarket. There we go. Is that good? This one's a bit more realistic. This is more... Okay, is that... So, because that's actually the front of a Coles as well, so is that... I mean, what... Well, what do you say we'll try a supermarket meditation? Okay? You know, there is an emotional Coles space, and in the pandemic we spent a lot of time there, and certainly that's where I am situated here at the beginning of the early pandemic, and I need you to come with me. Let's think about our bodies, and I want you to notice the ends of your bodies, okay? Yeah? Notice the ends of your bodies, notice your legs, your extremities. Be mindful. I assume you're sitting down, I'm standing up, that's okay. Either way is absolutely fine. If you are sitting down, feeling yourself in your seat, if you're standing up, of course feeling your legs into the floor, blending, sinking into the floor, and perhaps imagining that your seat or the ground beneath your feet is an aisle of a supermarket. I see that you're starting to get this. Now, if anyone's having any trouble, remember, if you have a Coles or a Woolworths bag in your kitchen, might be a good idea to go and grab that. Bring that with you. Maybe pop a couple of things from the kitchen there. Come back, okay? Take all the time you need. Bring it back. Hold it with you. You might want to feel the weight of that shopping bag and breathe it in perhaps, breathe in the fabric. Just think about shopping, okay? Because I want everyone to be coming together with me in the emotional supermarket space. Breathing in. Breathe the scent. Is that the deli? It's the deli, isn't it? Bit of mortadella. Is that the hint of an aromatic feta? Okay. Feeling the aisles around you, starting to notice your legs sink into the aisles. You feeling that? Yes. Like you're a spill in aisle 4. Noticing that your arms, feel them sink into the aisle. Feel your shoulders sink into the steel supermarket bargain shelves. Feeling your legs and your chest lower into the aisles. And feeling yourself sinking deeper and deeper now in 3, 2, 1. You are in the aisle for sauces at your local Coles. Aisle 7 is the sauce aisle. Feel that you have a trolley. It's not a carry case, as you might fetch for a light shop. No. This is a big, deep, heavy shop. That needs a big trolley. A heavy, dense, deep, dark shop needs a sturdy trolley. What can we hear? It's Let's Get This Party Started by Australia's favourite songstress, Pink, playing on Coles radio. You have your regulation mask on. Notice that it feels a little tough to breathe in it. You are looking at the array of sauces. Notice that you're holding one of them in your hand. It is a deluxe platinum tomato passata. $7.99. It's a deluxe passata, created from deluxe tomatoes. I'm coming up, so you better get this party started. You squeeze the juice of some green sanitizer globbing into your hand. Feel the globs absorb into your dry hand skin. Notice that even though you've got one sauce, your aura is still attached to the sauce aisle. That's because the deluxe passata is only for this evening's meal. You'd like another, more standard passata for tomorrow night's meal. That's how you do a heavy, dense, deep, dark shop. You buy enough for a few meals when you're shopping heavily. Look, I know you were probably coming for some kind of theatre or a show. I get that. Hopefully I can make it feel a bit arty in one of the later bits, but just right now we've got to do the basic building blocks, and I'm sorry, but Coles is in that building block. So I know you probably think to yourself, I go to Coles quite often, Tom. I don't need you. But you have to come with me, and that's part of it. Plus, you've just gone and done a big heavy shop for the fortnight, so that's really good, isn't it? Walking home via the park, Crookshank Park, Yarraville, April 2020. I know it's not Crookshank Park. Don't worry. Don't pull me up for continuity errors, mate. It's a representation, you know? Look, it's out of my 5k radius right now, okay? Put it that way. Going from one pandemic space, the supermarket, to the other, the home. And the home, of course, is a portal to tension all of its own, isn't it? You know, the home. Well, certainly it was in April 2020. Because they keep saying, don't they, that the pandemic, has torn us apart and it's really isolated us. And I've realised that I don't agree. I actually think it's highly socialising, and it turns out it's more socialising than we ever wanted or needed. It just so happens that socialising is happening in really heavy ways that we didn't really plan on. And it's happening during a time of great tension. And speaking of great tension, here's a video you probably might remember from this time, and it's a man showing you how to wash your shopping.
We're going to talk about how we can bring groceries into our home without any possibility, or the best possibility that we can, of not contracting COVID-19. And I want you to see your house as a fortress. Now, I'm not so worried about these apples because they've been encased in plastic, but just to be thorough, I'm going to deal with them and give them a good wiping off. Same with the tomatoes here that I grabbed off the pile of tomatoes off the... What I do is just rinse this off with plenty of flowing water.
Here's me at around that time, me on my Facebook page sharing that video. And here's what I've said. I've gone, really handy video. How to go shopping and order takeout during a pandemic. Fuck me, we're all learning a lot lately, aren't we? So chill, cool as a cucumber, Let's wash a box of macaroni, shall we? With soapy suds. So this is really where the self-restraint gauntlet began, I think, at this time, isn't it? And I'm so good at self-restraint now. Look at that, that's getting all clean. I'm so good at self-restraint now, making sure to wash and cleanse my macaronis at home. Very restrained, but very relaxed. I think in the start of the pandemic, we had to kind of start valorising self-restraint, didn't we? Because what else were we going to do with ourselves? It all began here for me, washing my macaroni. But at that time, we also discovered another world, hidden, shadow world, inside of the world of self-restraint and the like, didn't we? And it was more exciting to me, more illicit, and a more transgressive world. And of course I'm talking about the world of, conspiracy. I assume it's the case that if you're here, then you're aware that I spend a lot of my free time looking into fringe political movements and the like. In the pandemic, as you know, fringe types, who I used to look at in the form of far-right groups and the like, they have blossomed, multiplied, and become very, very interesting and very varied in nature. I'm washing my macaroni, but while I'm doing so, I'm also really absorbed in this. There we go. Get it. Don't let it get it. Don't let it. Take it. Win. It's yours. Get out of my fucking way. Fuck off. Fuck off. Yes. This is a really, really famous one, this one. We all know about this. Fuck off. Get on me, bastard. Give me the fucking paper. I heard the first really convincing to me explanation I'd ever heard about why people are bluing at this time over TB from a mate just the other day. She said to me that the Freudian, I know Freud is outdated, but the Freudian psychoanalytical take on this is that, so Freud said people who are control-driven regress during times where they experience a deficit of control into what he described as an anal stage of development. And therefore, that's why people automatically begin to collect TB. I think that the fights, the loss of control, the hopelessness, and particularly people whiling out in mundane town square style public spaces, you know, I guess it just reminded me of that woman in the park, you know? And it reminds me of my mother on the trains. And at this time, a follower messages me and they say, oh, you seem like you found your new true north, Tom. And I think, yeah, I'm loving a new type of fringe political person who's certainly a step up from Nazis, more interesting too, to talk about and to look at and try and understand. But I think also inside I'm feeling something different, something more. I know they're doing the wrong thing. And I know it's bad and it's naughty and it's silly and, oh, you shouldn't fight over the... Just another me inside of me who's starting to feel alive when I watch it. And I don't understand. But for reasons I don't understand, these videos, watching these fights, is taking my breath away. I want to take a trip to my Coles to have my time in my Coles for me. You know, go up and down the aisles, maybe buy an essential bread. Look, I don't have any shopping to do that's essential or otherwise, but right now this feels essential, and there's frankly nowhere else that you're allowed to go. So for this show, I looked up some facts, some supermarket facts, because I wanted to know, you know, what exactly are these giants that we spend, 20 minutes of almost every fucking day of our lives in? So the answers surprised me. Check this out. 80 cents of every single dollar in Australia that gets spent on groceries is spent in either one of these two giants, in the empire of Coles, Wesfarmers, or Woolworths. And isn't that interesting? Here it is another way. Every single Australian in Australia, and I'm talking statistically here, so I'm not excluding people who literally aren't going shopping like babies or the infirm. You know what I mean? I'm saying people in hospitals. Every single person is spending $100 a week in either a Coles or a Woolworths. 15% of our entire nation, like the population here, is employed at Coles and Woolworths combined. It's like a micronation in and of itself. Here's one you probably do know. Independent distributors, anyone who tries to sell groceries on a local level gets squeezed out. So they can't actually do it. It is only these two national institutions that can do that. And everyone else ultimately falls like dominoes to their constant expanding regime. Here's another fact. Did you know in April 2020 that, when you're feeling really, really fucking tense in Coles, that if you're seeing someone and they're getting in your way or they're holding your tomato passata, you start thinking that you can just throw the fucking thing and hit them in the fucking face. No, I'd never do it, obviously, but the idea, just saying, is there. This is not a fair way to live, I admit that. You know what I mean? Thinking about attacking someone in a supermarket just because it seems like a a freeing way of living is not, it's not great. But you know, like when you see a dog going along in a car and it goes by you and it's got its head out the window, you know, like you're sitting there at a cafe or something, I don't know, and this car whizzes by and there's a golden retriever in it and it's just like, you know, it's got its head out the window, it's big fucking flappy fucking whatevers. Well, listen, the thing is about that dog is that it could probably get its head fucking knocked off by a semi-trailer, okay? Don't visualise that, I'm just saying. It could, you know, so that's not right either. But we don't think that when we see it, we think, that's living. And I don't know why, but I guess, you know, something in me in this time of the early pandemic is thinking that fighting in Coles just looks a little bit like that to us. I mean, to me. It feels like Coles and Woolworths are like these two twin competing colonising nation states, because remember, they squeeze everything else out and they constantly expand everywhere and we're all forced under it. So they're actually colonisers. They set up shop everywhere, they muscle everyone out of the neighbourhood. They're like the whites of groceries. Remember, $100 per week from every one of you cunts. Statistically, that's the order, that's the command. And I just wonder, what's it like when they're the only places that you can go during most of the pandemic? Does all the tension that we let out in those aisles because we're all really tense, does it all combine together in the air? Does it become a spiritual catchment in those aisles for the energy? Because it isn't a true community in there. I know what they say in the ads, but it isn't a true community. It's not that kind of space. It's a spend $100 a week fuckface kind of space, you know? So does the tension linger there by everyone that lets it out from their anxious fucking paws every day, every time they have to go in there, $100 a week fuckface? Is it ready, just sitting there in the air like an unlit fuse, ready to be bashed aflame? I'm a Coles guy. You know, red guy, whatever. I'm the red guy, not the green. I don't know. I guess I first realised that the anti-lockdown movement is the best movement in the world at around the time this started happening, when people started smashing their TVs. The best bit about all of this is that most of those TVs weren't the TV that they watch in the living room. I love it that they get to make the theatrical statement without any impact on them. That's what I want for them. Look at this.
That's what I like to be about.
This guy had the nerve to set up a fake TV smash moment. This is his real TV. This isn't a fake one, but that is a video that you can find on YouTube. He gets the best of both worlds. He gets to pretend he's been part of this, but he hasn't done anything. And I love that for him. And it might not do anything, but I tell you what, it's fucking fun to shoot a TV. This is fun, look. Bam. If you were anxious about stuff, like you were fucking anxious in the early fucking pandemic, and I said to you, you know, I hand you a fucking pump action shotty, and I say to you, oh, you know, go for your life, fucking blow its head off, you would. You're probably a lefty Melbourne wanker, so we probably have to have a lengthy conversation about how much you believe in gun control first, but you'd still do it. You'd fucking blow that cunt to smithereens, mate. This, around the same time, this is the first anti-lockdown protest in Melbourne. These happen all around the world, actually, but here's an excerpt and a chant during that excerpt. Arrest Bill Gates!
Arrest Bill Gates! Arrest Bill Gates! Arrest Bill Gates!
Arrest Bill Gates! Arrest Bill Gates! Arrest Bill fucking...
Arrest Bill Gates!
Fucking hell! You know what I mean? Yeah, fucking arrest the cunt! Something inside me was stirring heavy when I was watching that, you know? I mean, suddenly I want Bill Gates to be arrested too, and I don't even know why. I don't even know what the charge is, to be frank. I don't know what he's done wrong at this stage, but I'll fucking spear tackle the cunt myself, is how I'm feeling. Slam the cuffs on the cunt, you know? Bloody hell. Fucking book him, Dano. I'm sitting there at home in just tears of laughter, you know, and I'm chanting it with him. I feel kind of weirdly free and open. Do you know what I mean? I mean, not that I do any of this stuff. God, you know, I wouldn't do any of that. I'm at home. I'm doing commentary on them. I'm at home. I'm me. You know, actually, at this point in time, I was organising some really great mutual aid stuff online. So, you know, I had podcasts at the time. I was speaking to lawyers, trying to organise rent assistance stuff and advice for people. One thing, actually, cool thing that I got done at this time was I organised a series of comrades to get together vouchers, supermarket vouchers, because we knew of a housing commission tower over somewhere in, I think, Western Sydney that was doing it tough, and there was an activist mate who was going to go and bring some vouchers over to those people. And so I was going to parcel the vouchers to him, and he was going to go and bring them some vouchers or some shopping for it, because they couldn't even get out at that time, you know, at this time in the early pandemic. We actually managed to raise $470 of vouchers, and that just felt like a cool, small, tangible thing that you can do. So, you know, pass them along to the mate, the anarchist mate, to circumnavigate all the police officers swarming the area, to get the groceries to them, because of course if they catch him, then they would arrest him and fine him. Mutual aid in the form of one anarchist trying to dodge the cops. I just like the anti-lockdown videos because they're fun to watch. Go for a walk. I'll go for a walk. I'm on the way through the park to my Coles, and I think it's May 2020 at this stage. I don't know. You start to lose track of the days a little bit, don't you? So as I'm walking, I see this woman in the distance walking down towards me, you know, in the opposite direction along the path, you know, adjacent to the creek there. And then as I approach, and we're talking about maybe 10 metres or so away from me, she starts to diverge in a wide circular arc away from me. And she's still looking directly at me. Well, now she's strafing me, actually, like we're in Call of Duty. It's the same woman who earlier stopped so that I could move past her and so that she could give me a 5,000 kilowatt mega glare. And it's the same lady. Now, she's looking at me, definitely got the feeling that I am a confirmed 100% super spreader case of SARS-CoV-2. And I'm feeling very bad about that, and it's at that point that she looks at me, and beneath her mask, and this has to be a particularly loud one given her mask, she goes, a big tut, like a ringing tut, a tut that fucking lances across the park and hits me in the face, a mega tut. And I love it. Again, I love it in spite of myself. You know, what's she doing? She's going home to her son. She's telling him about me. She's saying, this fucking bastard walking right down the path where I have my daily morning walk. He's obviously a confirmed case. Had one of those Coles bags on him for his shopping, so he's obviously infecting the community at the Coles. This fucking bastard, if I get the virus from that fucking bastard, I'm calling the police. I understand, you know, everyone's going through so much anxiety at the moment. I mean, me personally, I'm getting this anxiety of late where I'm getting these numb and tingling sensations up my arms. I can barely feel them, you know, and that's me feeling in control right now. So imagine how everyone else is feeling. So frankly, when I see her mega tutting at me, you know, machine gun tutting, I think to myself, oh, go on, whatever gets you through the pandemic, you know? But for all that, everything I remember, I just can't help myself. I start laughing at her, and this time it elicits a row of 2 or 3 tuts. She goes, through the mask. Something I've never seen before, such was its intensity. I mean, so much anxiety at the moment, everywhere. I'm feeling it, she's feeling it, everyone's fucking feeling it. Now, the problem is, for me, is that, you know, right now it's about late May 2020, and I realise that, well, look, I had to send notice to say that I'm ending my lease and moving into a new rental property. But I realised after securing the new rental property that that new property only has a Woolies in its 5-kilometre radius. So, if lockdowns persist, then that means that I can't go to a Coles anymore. And that, I'll be honest, is a really big challenge to me. Through the early pandemic, I have learned to become a Coles loyalist to the very core. You don't understand. They say that it's essential shopping, but when I hear those words, I take it quite literally. To me, trips to Coles are, by this stage, absolutely essential to my being and my soul. No, you don't understand, okay? I'm a red Coles guy. You know, that's my preferred colour. That's the colour that I am. I'm not a green Woolworths guy inside of me. I'm the red guy, okay? I'm a Coles shopper. I'm loyal to Coles, and that means a lot to me. There's only one me. Okay, in the pandemic, the only places that really exist now are fucking homes, you know, when you go on here and you look at cookers all day, and then the supermarket where you go to relax and meditate, okay, like we've been doing. And for me, you know, that place of meditation and relief and asylum is my Yarraville Coles, and frankly, with all due respect, losing that Coles is like losing my family. Like losing my literal entire family in a burning house fire while I watch. And that's not an exaggeration. I'll be okay. I'm good at self-restraint now. But as I'm trawling, you know, I see this video.
Get a load of this shit. Get a load of this. Get a load of this shit right now. Daniel's Donuts. Daniel's fucking Donuts. Milkshakes. You get it? Can't get Daniel's Donuts milkshakes.
Yes!
I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. Look at these fucking monkeys.
Look at these monkeys.
Can you tell me on what fucking planet this is a fucking essential service? On what fucking planet is this an essential service?
Yeah.
On what fucking planet? You guys are all wearing masks and coming in here like there's a pandemic.
Yeah.
There's a pandemic, you motherfuckers would be staying the fuck home. Why are you playing along with this shit? Why are you playing along with this shit?
Yeah, you fucking
What's wrong
shit.
with you all? Take your fucking masks off.
Take them
What the
off.
fuck are you playing along with this shit? Where's the pandemic? If you guys are ready to sit in the fucking cold, stand there. Where the fuck is the pandemic?
Yeah, where is it?
Where is it? You guys fucking nuts? Call the fucking cops. You fucking nutcases. How is this essential? You guys are feeding yourselves sugar. They closed the gym, but they opened this fucking place. Are you guys fucking nuts? Are you guys nuts? You guys are fucking morons. To play along with this, I'm out of work because you cunts are putting on your mask. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah, he should be ashamed. He doesn't sit here washing his Passatas. He just gets mad about donuts. You know? He doesn't organise mutual aid for anyone or anything. Nothing like that. He just gets mad about donuts. Those of us in the activist left have said to ourselves, well, you've got to accept that it's a public health crisis, and in that public health crisis, there's going to have to be a degree of bend, flexibility, you know, on, amongst other things, borders. Even though we believe in the opening up of borders and the letting in of refugees and the like, obviously we understand that we're in unique circumstances. So here's us getting mad brownie points from has-been neo-Nazi washed up leader Blair Cottrell. For at least 15 years they demanded open borders, more refugees, more immigration, more diversity. They said travel restrictions are racist. And people who disagree are neo-Nazis. People now dying and losing their jobs en masse from an overseas virus is totally not their fault. Drown me in my fucking Passata bath, you know? Just fucking pour all of the Passata in and then pour me in. Just fucking let me sink. You know, the spiritual violence of copping it from these cunts when they go out and scream about garbage over the past fucking God knows how long. And then they get to arrest Bill Gates while I have to wash Passata here. And then I get a text from my mate. You remember my mutual aid mate in Sydney who we've gone and done all the cool mutual aid stuff for. And he's gone over to Western Sydney into the Hounslow Tower to go and give all the groceries and the remaining vouchers to all these poor people. Couldn't get out. And the coppers have caught him and they've given him a fine. And they fined him $4,700, which is pretty cool because that just happens to be 10 times the amount that we'd raised. So that's a good bit of organised mutual aid from us right there. So I think I'm moving out soon, but I'll probably just go to Coles, hey, just for one last, you know, really, really heavy shop. I learned another fact about Coles and Woolworths, you know, when I was looking up information about supermarkets. It was that, you know, back in the 60s, the two companies ran a friendly football tournament between each other. I think rugby, you know, like friendly intercompany rivalry. And they had to cancel it after 2 years because these executives were bloodying each other up over perceived rivalries. Executives attacking each other so bloodily that they had to cancel the entire thing. Think about that. Woolies and Coles. A state of origin. A colonising grocery micronation state of origin. And when I learned that, I thought, the violence really is in the DNA of these fucking businesses, isn't it? You know, I realise that the sterile glow of the Coles and all that latent tension in the air of aisle 9, well, it's kind of an invitation, isn't it? It's saying, you know, we're taking advantage of you. Why don't you do it too? I can barely even feel my fucking arms. But when I think about my Coles, one last trip to my Coles, I don't know how else to explain this. A flame inside of me just lights up. Back in the supermarket, one last walk down these aisles, hey? Down these fucking cramped aisles, you know, under the cold, sterile glare of white aisles that somehow keep items fresh forever. Come on, let's picture it. Let's picture it together. Come on, breathing. Feeling your legs sinking into the aisles. Feeling your fucking guts flopping into the supermarket checkout. Feel your fucking anus melt into the air of the aisles. Feel it breathing in the fucking Fruit Loops. In 3, 2, 1. Let's try to find the Passata, the premium deluxe platinum golden Passata, just so we can take them home to wash them so they don't have any viral particles on them. Make clean Passata in a big bathtub. I have a big trolley now, a big trolley for the heaviest shop of all. Feel the aura of the Passatas in the aisles around you. Notice a woman over there in a comically big N95 respirator. She's repeatedly sanitizing her dry, flaking hands. Globs of glowing green sani squirting all over her skin. As we approach, she turns to face us and mega-tuts very loudly. It's the woman from Crookshank Park who thinks I'm a confirmed case fucking bastard. She's tutting at me repeatedly. Machine gun, mega-tuts. And she's leaning back against a Master Food spice rack to get away from me. She's with her husband, also in a massive N95 gas mask. And he tuts at me under his breath too. He thinks I'm a confirmed case fucking bastard as well. I look down the aisle and everyone there is leaning into the shelves, trying to shrink away from me. They're looking at me like I just stepped off the Ruby Princess. And I look into my massive trolley. The premium golden deluxe Passata is there. So we hold it up to the light and we wonder just how many viral particles are on the jar's surface. And as I'm doing that, I hear the woman's husband from the park. He mutters to her about me. He says,
"Why don't you clean it, you little coals, bitch?"
And I take a deep breath, and he says,
"It's not even a sanitized Passata, you little bitch."
"You confirmed case fucking bastard! I had to go all the way home on the train, probably giving me the coronavirus."
"Yeah, little apples washing lefty coals, bitch. Why don't you clean it up like you clean your fucking apples?"
"You little mutual aid lefty confirmed case bastard! If I get the coronavirus from you, I swear."
"You little bitch."
"You fucking bastard!" And then I hold up the bottom end of the Passata and I lean back like I'm about to shot put, and I send the Passata into his face. And the Passata immediately breaks into his face, and it changes the colour of his massive N95 from a surgical blue to a brilliant freedom red, and he has considerable amounts of glass from the jar wedged into his face, coming out of his face and mask in violent triangular shards. And I am crying
because I feel the wind blow through my hair for the first time since the daily briefings began. The first time. And I scream, "Arrest Bill Gates!" And we don't even believe it. But we just want to say it so much, and we feel so free when we say it. Like all the cobwebs and tensions have lifted from our heart and soul, and suddenly all the numbness and tingling is gone from my arms. They flood with blood renewed, and I can use them, and I flap them about, and I wail my living fists into the face of this cunt in front of me. I bash his mask. I use my living arms to bash into his face, and I feel so alive, and we scream, "I do not fucking consent! Take your mask off! Daniel's fucking donuts! Arrest Bill Gates!" And now I'm stuck inside the Passata rack, crying tears of joy. But also now I'm crying because the man is headbutting me in my face with his shardy, bleeding glass N95 mask face, and the shards really hurt. I'm inside the Fruit Loops aisle. I'm smashing into Peck's Pace deviled hams, and deviled ham is spilling all over me. "Take your fucking mask off!" All the shoppers have surrounded me now. They're all kicking me and screaming. "You were always infected with the novel coronavirus, you apple-washing, anti-lockdown fucking bastard!" "Your mutual aid isn't shit, you lefty little Coles bitch. You can't even go outside, you weak bloody lefty dog. I'll clean you up like you clean Granny Smith's, you little Coles lefty bitch!" They're all on me, dousing me in sanitizer, spraying me with Dettol in my eyes, kicking me in the face, and I'm crying, screaming and laughing and ripping their masks off. And that's when I see him. Suddenly all the other shoppers stop kicking me and they run away from him. And I realise he's out of me now. He's the green flame. The me inside of me. He's the Woolworths Warrior. He's the violent Woolies nationalist. He's the fighter. He's the anti-lockdown golden retriever with his head out the window. He doesn't wash apples. He throws them at cunts' heads. He doesn't do mutual aid. He abuses young staff at the checkout like a real man. He's the man who will arrest Bill Gates. He's the one at the rallies. He's the man's man inside of me who wanted to fight all along. And he's live streaming himself. Oh God, that means he's ready to go to war. And suddenly I realise that I have to put him back inside of me. I cannot be that man. Yes, I am an apple-washing little Coles lefty bitch. No, I am not him. But it's too late. I can't put him back. Oh, he's coming this way. No, don't come this way, please. Don't hurt me. No, please, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I won't buy any Daniel's donuts. I'll take my mask off, I promise. No, please, coming out of the meditation in 3, 2, 1.
Anyway, after that I got arrested for public disturbance and for not wearing a mask and also for resisting arrest. I was fined about $15,000 and on the front cover of all the News Corp publications, and they called me the enemy of Australia. Turns out I'm the first white man to ever have been made an example of for breaching coronavirus restrictions, so that's interesting. Anyway, that really fixed me, I have to say. I actually felt a lot better after that, and after that I was content to just wash my pink ladies at home. Where's the hand sanitizer?